No?
I don't have a mouse
Mouse
pointer
you
anymore,
talk
so I
about?
can't find out exactly how to start the slideshow. Oh, there it goes. I'm guessing where it is. Okay, this is a really quick talk on the status of Fossil. This is the only slide, so this will be a short talk. For those of you who don't know what Fossil is, Fossil is the version control system that I wrote specifically to support SQLite. That's its only reason to exist, but it's actually been used for a lot of other things. You may be familiar with this other version control system that some people use that was written specifically to support the Linux kernel called Git. And they were written about the same time. One is more popular than the other. I've been really flattered that Fossil. There was a few years ago. Some of you might not know there was the great SourceForge outage, where Tcl' was originally kept on SourceForge, and then they went down for about a month or so, and there was a big scramble to figure out what to do, and the team decided to go with Fossil. I was very flattered by that. I want to make it clear that I'm flattered that you're using this tool, but if tomorrow you decide to go to some more primitive version control system like SCCS or RCS or Git, I will not take offense to that. I'm being very serious. I will not take offense to that, and I'll keep coming to the meetings and everything. So don't feel like you have to do this for me. But I know a lot of people here use it. There are some people here are not using who ought to be, so I just want to go over the status. This is just a brief status report of what's changed in Fossil since our last meeting. We're currently at the last major release of Fossil was version 2.3, but we keep the trunk usable at all times, and the current trunk, which is kind of a pre-2.4, is in fact the version of Fossil that's running on core.tcl.tk. Typically core, Tcl'2017, and SQLite.org are running the latest trunk version. It stays stable. So that's what's running there. Like I said, this other version control system you may have heard of called Git seems to be a little bit more popular because Linus is a little bit more well known than me or something. But Fossil is, we find a lot of people using it, and they're mostly Git refugees. We're getting about 1,500 unique human visitors per day on the main website. So, it's not huge, but it's not small either. There is some kind of presence. Now, among the big things that have happened in the last year, I guess it was in March, there was the shattered attack against SHA-1, where there were some collisions, and so within a week of that, we had enhanced Fossil to support SHA-3 hashes in addition to SHA-1 hashes, and that was the conversion from 1 point, whatever the last 1 point was, to 2.
36 or 7.
Yeah, 36, 37, whatever. But we went to version 2 at that point. And it's fully backwards compatible, so version 2 dot whatever will always read older repositories. And in fact, older Fossils will read newer repositories as long as they don't contain any SHA-3 hashes. But you can start using SHA-3 hashes, but you need version 2 for that. And we had that out in about a week, and that's been working really, really well. Last time I checked a couple weeks ago, Git was still struggling to move off of the SHA-1 legacy. But to convert a legacy repository from SHA-1 to SHA-3, you just type the command fossil hash policy SHA-3, and then on your next check-in, it will convert. So it's very simple. I had a bullet here that said, hey, there's 33 Fossil repositories on core.tcl.tk, of which 29 were still on SHA-1, and I brought this to Andreas' attention last night at the hospitality room, and he fixed that. So apparently they're all now SHA-3. But actually, you have to commit to it before it converts, right? So
yeah.
So, but we'll be doing that. But Tcl and TK and so forth, Tcl, TK, Tcl', and
yeah, everything.
Yeah, well, but there were 4 that were already converted.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
so
Tcl',
if you're
TK,
using one of these old ones,
Tcl',
and
and
you've got
tips.
an old version of Fossil sitting on your machine, and you try and clone, you'll get some goofy errors. Just update the newest Fossil, and everything will work fine. So that's a big enhancement. We thought it was going to be a big deal and be a pain to convert, but we just cut it over there. And amazingly, everybody just converted and it was not an issue and everything's working fine. And so probably you didn't even notice. You had to update your Fossil client and you were good to go.
One detail on that.
Yes, what's the detail?
So if you're in that situation where some repositories you occasionally visit are converting to SHA-3,
Yes,
and you don't update your fossil as often as you should,
yes.
yes, you should update it, but you will not be able to update it by pulling down fossil updates from the fossil repository.
You need to pull a binary.
You need to pull a binary.
Yeah, because one of the first repositories we converted was Fossil itself, so.
That was a wrinkle I ran into.
Okay, so but you just pull the binary and then you're good to go. You're done. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, the Fossil installation, it's a single standalone binary. Just pull it down and stuff it on your path and you're good to go. All right, so another thing, we're trying to make Fossil really simple. So if you're administering a Fossil repository, we don't want you to have to think about it. And one thing, when you're doing something like this, is you're always concerned about security. Have I misconfigured something so that it's an issue, so that I've left a hole in it? And so we created a new, I'm going to do this out of order. I'm going to go do Fossil all command. We created a new command, Fossil all UI, which is a fun thing to do. And I'm going to demonstrate that here. If you can see that. I did a really big font. I don't have a mouse, do I? Okay. Fossil all UI. And when I do this, it's going to bring up a user interface, which shows me all of the Fossil repositories that I have on this computer under my account. And then I can click on any one of those, and it takes me right to it. Except I can't click on it because I don't have a mouse because this Mac is just wonky. Let me see if I can. Okay, well if I click on one of those, it would take it to the repository. I apologize for the projector problem. Well, I really do need to click. So how are we going to do this, guys? I clicked on something, okay, but now I want to go over here to the admin menu. Wait a minute. Any Mac experts know how to debug this problem?
You can use the keyboard.
Yeah, but see, I don't know where the mouse is. Oh, I see.
If you command tab into
Command
window,
tab.
you can tab.
I'm already in the window. Mouse. Well, I think the mouse would work. It's the little touchpad thingy on the. Just try it.
Mouse is back.
You see a mouse pointer? Is there a mouse pointer up there anywhere?
No.
The problem is the mouse pointers.
Yeah, the problem is the mouse pointer's gone. I don't.
Can you restart the Finder?
The mouse works. It's just I don't have a mouse pointer on
Can
the
you
screen.
relaunch the Finder process from
I can do that by going down to the bottom.
Command Option Escape?
All right, there's Finder.
Hit Command Option Escape.
Command Option Escape.
Yeah. Then relaunch the Finder. Hit your enter key.
A couple times.
Oh, hit relaunch.
Yeah.
So go up to Finder.
Just
Go
hit
up to
the
Finder.
He's on Finder
I'm
now.
on Finder. Hit
Okay.
relaunch.
Yeah.
You can see that it.
No.
Negative.
Mouse.
No
mouse.
It's plain drums.
Yeah, and this is a stock Mac. I haven't done anything to it. This is right out of the box. So I don't know what the issue is. Every time I plug it in.
3-finger swipe to the right.
Yeah, everything works.
It just doesn't display.
It just doesn't display the mouse pointer.
Probably something to do with Fossil.
Forgive me.
I found some
Apple has just not been the same since Steve's been gone. It's just. Anyway, so we can go up here. If I can try and figure out where the mouse is, I can click on. Let's see. Can I do? Click on the admin tab. I'd really like to do that. Tell you what, can we?
With the touchscreen.
No, that's not working. Okay, well, if I could click on the admin tab, it would take me to a menu of administrative options, and one of them is security audit. And if you click on security audit, it'll take you to a page that gives you a summary of the security configuration of your repository, and will give you warnings if you've got anything that's misconfigured that might present a security risk. It's a one-stop shop that you can go to make sure that you haven't set things up in a way that is dangerous. It's a nice little feature to help you make sure that your installations are good. Okay, the precompiled binaries from Fossil are now stored on the Fossil server as unversioned content, unversioned files. If you go to the download page on the Fossil website and scroll down to the bottom, there's a little, in very fine print at the bottom, it says how this page was generated, and that'll take you to a page that explains this in detail. But it's a really cool system, and it's an opportunity for you to enhance your own Fossil repositories to do some cool things along the same line. There have been dozens and dozens of other minor improvements that I won't go into because it's a 5-minute talk. Just this morning, I was made aware of this new thing called Content Security Protocol, or Content Security, CSP, Content Security Policy. Yeah, does anybody know about Content Security Policy? This is a new web kind of standard that's increasingly going to be enforced. So if your web pages do not comply with the Content Security Policy stuff, then people will not render them. And businesses are starting to do this, where if you don't have very tight content security policy, they won't allow your web pages through. And the idea here is to prevent cross-site scripting attacks. But amongst the things that content security policy will typically not allow is inline JavaScript, inline CSS, your on-click, an on-click tag must only refer to a single function call. It can't have any other JavaScript involved. You can't have style equal anywhere in any tags, and things like that. So I was reading about this and trying to get to come to grips with this morning. If anybody knows any more about it, I'd love to hear from you. But Fossil is not currently doing that. It does have inline JavaScript. It does have style tags. And but we're going to fix that. So by the time you meet next year, we should be ready to go with the really security conscious people. Okay, that's my 5-minute summary. I'm happy to answer questions.
Rich, you still have an hour.
I know I still have an hour, but I've got a whole other talk tomorrow. I've got a question in the back of the car.
This would be a good time for, could you elucidate for, like, I didn't get your explanation before. Like, you're very confident that Fossil's way better than Git. And there's something that Fossil can do that Git can't do. Can you explain that? Like,
yeah, well, the big, there's a lot of things actually. The big showstopper for me is that with Git, it's I won't say you can't, but it's very difficult to find what comes next. So if you're in Git and you say, oh, we got this bug in this check-in from last year, you've bisected to find some check-in, say it's a year old, and you say, okay, well, you're analyzing this thing and you want to ask, well, what came after that? What check-ins did we apply that came afterwards? See, with Git, you can go backwards in time, but you can't go forward in time. So there's no way to do that in Git. Well, there is a way to do it. You can look at the Git log, but it's a real pain, and it's such a pain that nobody ever does it. And so you can't do that. You can only go backwards in time. And so when you look at like a history of a Git thing, you start with a single check-in, and you find all of its ancestors, but you can't ever find its descendants. So, well, at least it's very difficult to. And so none of the interfaces actually do it. So with Fossil, though, you can go in either direction very simply because Fossil keeps these artifacts in a relational database. It's just a query. It's a recursive common table expression. I mean, it's not a real simple query, but it's just a query. And you can find all of the descendants. Or you can find, for example, a problem that we have all the time is that we're looking at some bug we introduced a year ago, some obscure thing, and we're looking at some bit of code, and we're trying to figure out why did we put that line of code in there? And it's helpful to look at what we were doing in other branches and other things at about the same point in time. And so with Fossil, you can do a query that has a date between a couple of things, and it'll give you And of course, it gives you a graphical display. I wish I had a mouse so I could show you.
For that, just as an experiment, try closing your lid.
Actually, unplug the monitor,
Yep.
detect displays, close the lid, open the lid, plug the monitor back in.
All right, I've unplugged the monitor. Detect displays.
Yep.
System preferences.
No, you can go to the.
Wait, it doesn't have a mouse.
I've got a mouse now. It works fine when you guys can't see it. I can hold it up.
Oh, your mouse came back?
Yeah, when I unplug the projector, it works great. So, or I can get to settings, right?
Yeah,
System preferences, displays. All right, I don't know what detect display is. I'm on, displays. And then I'm gonna, what am I doing here? Where is detect displays? What is that? This is settings. Maybe I'll close the lid, open it back up, type, oh, it's back up, and then plug it in again. I'm still on mouse. Mouse goes away again.
Alright, I was just walking through Apple.
But I haven't hit detect displays yet. I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. It's in the control panel. Sometimes, no, actually, it's up on your menu bar, right next to the Wi-Fi. You click on that in display.
All right, so unplug it. Click on that. Open display preferences. It's open.
It doesn't need to detect displays, but
It's supposed to be Mac. It's supposed to be automatic.
Well, actually, they took that away.
they took it away. This is
what I was saying about.
Wow, that's really good. No idea.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna plug in the projector,
Oh, there you go.
and then we still don't have a mouse, but I'll close it and reopen it.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
That was. Oh.
It has both an external mouse,
Oh, I get
close
your
it,
best- get your
because
best
it's got the HDMI and go to the clamshell.
What?
Alright, there's a light bulb joke out there somewhere.
Someone go help us.
How many PhDs does it take to move a mouse on a Mac? Yeah.
Four fingers swipe down.
Actually, I'll get you
Just something about the finger.
go up to that icon up there.
Go up here. Where is mirroring?
It shows up when you plug
Show
in.
mirroring options. Oh, wait, that checked.
Yeah. When you unplug it, it shows Yeah, oh, perfect. And I go down there. What I have to do is I have to turn all on the right display because I can't.
That we can do here.
We got a pointer! Yay! Okay.
What was it?
There's a third screen connected.
It was trying to match resolution with the projector and the windows and the display code.
So we've got the security audit page here that comes over and gives you security warnings. All right, so.
Hey, look at that. How'd you do it?
That'll be tomorrow's talk. That'll be tomorrow's talk. Let's just go and look at, say, let's take a look at the tickle sources. what was I getting ready to tell you?
Security audit or
Backwards and
time
forwards.
query? Backwards and forwards?
Yeah, so you know, if you've got a check in here. Carl, here's a cool thing. Suppose I've selected that particular check-in.
Yeah.
Suppose I want to find the difference between that check-in and this check-in. There's the difference between those two. You can do stuff like that in Fossil. I don't think there's any way. If you want to do that in Git, you have to like copy paste the hashes and type in a command or something, right? I mean, there's no GUI that'll do stuff like that.
I'm not expert enough to really
It goes in.
Huh?
But I do get what you're saying. I think that if you have Git checked out at a certain point, you can't see what comes after.
Right, and so you have this whole concept of a disconnected head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a concept, and that bites a lot of people in Git, you know, because they end up with disconnected heads and you're toast. There is no such thing as a disconnected head in Fossil. Heads never get disconnected.
A very practical example that I've just recently come across is when you're making a release.
Yes.
And you've got it, I know what check-in of the code should correspond to my release. I'm absolutely sure, and I tag it, and I go to make my release, and nope, I was wrong.
Yes.
I make my fixes, I check them in, I move my tag, I try again. I can go through a few iterations of this. No trouble at all in Fossil. Moving a tag in Git, you can do it. But it's a 4-step process, and everywhere you go to ask, how do I do this, is full of warnings about, well, you shouldn't do anything like that. Believe it or not, they complain that I'm changing history, which seems strange to me.
Okay, can we keep going on
And
this?
they rebase.
And my sense is that it has something to do architecturally with how tags are actually represented in the structures.
Yeah,
I think there's something to hang loosely
there
off
is.
the Fossil, and they're
It's-
embedded deeply
so
into the stream
It
somehow.
kind of gets down to the point that Git is built around a key value database. They've got, you know, the key is the hash, and the value is the content, and that's their entire data store. It's a key value. Fossil is built around a relational database with full query capabilities and all of that. And so this, when you make that transition from key value to relational, it just opens up a world of possibilities. So Fossil has, you know, built in a bug tracker and a wiki and other stuff like that, which if you've got a relational database just sitting there waiting to be used, is suddenly very easy. If your only storage mechanism is key value, that's harder to do, and so these things don't appear in Git.
But they do appear in GitHub.
Yes, because GitHub includes MySQL, right?
God, I hope not.
Or something. I mean, it's got a relational database in there to handle these
Yeah.
other things.
Well, I mean, you know, GitHub does provide this opportunity to have a community, right? And
Right, and Fossil
very
does not
simple-
give you
right.
that to the same extent.
Right, this very simple way that we can even take a Flighterware project and allow external developers access to one or to a set of projects.
Sure.
And not have to like email us to Git for us to set them up a password or something like that. But, okay, so.
So yeah, there is a difference in philosophy of development, because remember, Git was designed for the Linux kernel, which is GPL, and it's designed for thousands and thousands of people to contribute. Furthermore, it's designed to forget things, because Linus does not want to see every contribution that goes into the kernel. It gets filtered as it goes into Linus. He's only seeing, you know, the stuff that's been pre-filtered by his minions.
Pull request that's flat, right? He doesn't want to see the.
He doesn't want to see all the history. He doesn't want to see that.
Existing period and stuff.
SQLite has a very different development philosophy. It's not GPL, it's public domain. It's a closed development community. I want to see absolutely everything that's committed for all of history. In fact, I need to do that because we sell indemnity to people that, you know, verifies. We have to be able to track every byte of source code back to its point of origin in order to provide this indemnity. And so I can't be deleting stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so there are some philosophical differences in addition to the implementation differences.
Well, that's kind of like how Tcl' was at the beginning with John Oster, right? Because He
He wrote all the code
very
himself.
rarely accepted any external code.
Exactly.
And I think that it kept the quality of the code really high, and it maybe slowed down the like incredible accomplishment. For performance, like Git was possible way, right? Like as far as checking out the Linux kernel with all the history.
I don't know. I never compared it.
I think
It's a lot
way
faster.
Yeah.
Lots.
But then there's here's the thing that gets us very frustrating. We have user local flavor source directory because we build certain things
Sure.
on all the machines rather than doing a package install or something like that. And those are group writable. And somebody's come along and somehow a file's gotten created, that without group write permissions, and you do a git pull on this repo, and it fails, and now you do a git status, and there's like 90 files that it thinks changed because it's not transactional, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what would Fossil do in that case? Will it sort of be able to leave the actually
Well, a fossil repository is a single file on disk. It's not a directory full of files.
No, I'm saying the checkout is one. Okay,
Yeah.
so but in Fossil, this is a big difference. Like in Git, I would be in a Git repo and I would like git checkout, boom. It makes all the changes it needs for me to be that foo branch, right? Git checkout master,
Yeah.
boom, right? In Fossil, you don't check out different branches into the same. You don't check out. Replace one checked out branch with another in the same directory.
Yeah,
right?
you can. Yeah, you can't do that all the time. Yeah, you
Why
normally
doesn't
use
that work?
You normally use update because, all right, suppose you do a checkout, you're on branch foo, and you make some edits, and oh man, I should be making these over on branch bar.
Yeah.
So you just do fossil update bar, and it'll automatically convert over to that other branch, make whatever changes, and try and merge them together. I mean, you might get merge conflicts,
Sure.
but that's rare, and it'll put you right there.
Oh, I know you can do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got another thing. Oh yeah, another thing that is really frustrating about Git. Oh yeah. I doubt you can do this either. I don't mean that as an insult. I mean this is a real problem. Okay, so like the Postgres guys, before any commit, all the software that goes through a pretty printer, right?
Right.
So the formatting, you never reformat part of the code and end up like a blame showing the guy who reformatted the code as the owner, right?
Right.
So let's say I've got a file that's 10 years old and I haven't had that discipline and the formatting of the file is messed up. I would dearly love to be able to pretty print the file to a standard, tabs with four character tabs, let's say. And all the indentation and stuff according to a pretty printer, but still have the history.
So when you do an annotate, it would go beyond that one?
Huh?
So that when you do an annotate, it kind of skips past that edit and...
Yeah, it
almost
still
like ignore
figures the
spaces.
people who actually
Yeah.
changed the code, not the person who
Yeah.
reformatted the file.
No, I don't have that of it, but because it's never come up for me, but it seems like it'd be easy to change. I mean, Gerald points out that you just do an annotate with ignore space, or ignore white space, and that'd probably take care of it, right?
If you wait an hour, he might have it.
Yeah. If it makes a difference to you, I'll add it, Carl. It's not that big a deal. Remember, I went from SHA-1 to SHA-3 in a matter of hours, while Git is still trying to make that transition.
Okay, and then the name Fossil I think is a little detrimental.
I have a unique talent for picking really goofy names for projects.
Well, that's SQLite works. That one's goofy.
You think that's goofy and Git isn't?
Well,
But also does not have quotations.
So, Carl, my vision for the future, because when I wrote Fossil, it was in the running. It was competing with Git. It was contemporaneous with Git. Okay, but Git kind of won it. It's won the networking effect.
yeah, it won.
Okay, so my idea now is what we need is a new version control system, which is a combination of Fossil and Git, which we call FIT. FIT as in, they've been at the gym. And
Silent G-I-T.
So you got a thing there.
F-Git.
Commands like buff and.
well, but the point is, it uses the Fossil interface, the Fossil implementation, but down under the covers, it's got Git objects. So that, somebody wants to continue using a Git client can push and pull with FIT with no problem. But somebody wants to use, a Fossil-like interface, they can do that too. And you can stand up a server just by, a simple a two-line CGI. You can stand up what amounts to something very similar to Github with a two-line CGI, and it just works. And then legacy people who know the Git command line and want to keep using it can. They won't have access to tickets and wiki and that sort of thing. They'll just have the versions. But then people who want all these other features and who like the Fossil interface style better, they can have that.
But Richard, how would that play in with the fact that in Git you can change history and in Fossil?
Well, there would be some policy things that we'd have to make some decisions there about. But yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay.
So somebody would have, whoever writes this, would have to make a decision on are you allowed to delete history or not? I mean,
Maybe some kind of immutable setting that you can't change without totally corrupting it, so that you can build a repository that can ignore history, or you can build a post where you can't ignore history, but you can't later.
I mean, it'd be really useful. Git lacks this too. It'd be really useful to be able to clone, say, just the last year's stuff. Because if you've got a 17-year-old project, if you're cloning, if you want to clone SQLite, that's 30 megabytes. Maybe you only want to do 1 megabyte of that, and you just use the last 12 months.
Is that possible?
That would be really cool to do.
Is that possible in Fossil yet?
No, not really. It could be done.
That's okay.
But I haven't done that. But some features like that, or to clone just a slice. Suppose you've got a big thing like OpenBSD. Their entire thing is this massive thing with over 100,000 separate files. And suppose you only want to clone,
FTP.
FTP. Why do you have to get all the other 100,000 files when all you want is the little FTP branch? Why can't you just clone that one little branch? And right now there's no way to slice either Git or Fossil, and it seems like that would be a useful thing to do.
Richard, another one is this perennial problem if somebody accidentally checks in a rather large piece of garbage.
Yeah, the Fossil has a mechanism to deal with that.
You can ignore it.
Yeah.
But I'd like a mechanism that would allow you to say, the user, not the administrator, to say, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. You may still get it on the central repo, but all your peers don't pull the thing out.
Right, a way to back things back out.
Yeah, back them out, but
we've got you can do that. You can do that now in Fossil as long as you haven't pushed it back.
Yeah.
But in Fossil, the push back up to the server is usually automatic.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, but you can turn that off. But the default is it's automatic. But once it goes to the server, it goes to everybody. But you can still block it. I mean, you can purge it.
Yeah, but
after the fact.
What I'm saying is to purge it, you have to be an administrator.
Yes, you do.
So what I would like is the ability for an end user to say, I didn't mean to do that. It still goes to the server, but everybody else that does a pull won't get it. So you don't lose the history. It's just not everybody gets it.
There's some security protocol issues there. It would require some digital signatures, and the user would have to have a public key and some other things. It would be tricky to do in a secure way because of the distributed nature of it. You don't have a central authority. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, we got a question.
So I think Fossil may be more usable because we do development in the research lab setting. Since Git came out, I told students, let's use this. It just didn't pick up. But last year we switched to Fossil. Now they can use it. Not only the interface, but also command line works well.
Yeah, let me just, there's a funny cartoon. If you haven't seen it, you need to see this one. Where is it under? No, that's not the right one. Hold on, let me find it. Here it is. There we go.
I can't read that, sorry.
Oh, I'll read it to you. This is Git. It tracks collaborative work on projects through a beautiful distributed graph theory tree model. Cool. How do we use it? No idea. Just memorize these shell commands and type them to sync up. If you get errors, save your work elsewhere, delete the project, and download a fresh copy. Okay, raise your hand if that's the way you use Git. Okay.
I use it mostly as
That was my old solution.
Rich, I use it mostly as source tree, and I don't have to worry about any of that crap anymore.
Okay, there you go. Do you have a question?
So, what's your ideas about, Tcl' is mirrored with Git, and, just having some ground rules about like if there's a tip branch, can we do pull requests from tip branches, even though the mechanics is possible? I mean,
I don't have it, but you're gonna have to talk to the core team about that. I'm not. I don't.
Well, I'm just saying that, like, in the sense that it's like the diff would be between, well, the tip branch that's in Git came from Fossil. Now there are some deltas that are in pull, right? You can't have any other wild forking whatever. It's just like you've got file changes from that branch, which is the tip. And can we support those kinds of pull requests just so that there's some functionality?
Maybe I'd have to. I don't understand the technical aspects enough to answer definitively.
Shannon, have you tried using the Git mirror of the Fossil repository?
Yeah, it's right here. So go in there and there's like a fast running poll since December.
What's your question, Sean?
Well, actually, I did an experiment
It's not even my poll.
on I have all of my normal mirrors under fossil.atoic.com/fossil.
Yeah.
But I've also opened up a mechanism by which there's under /sandbox.
Yeah.
There's a copy of every mirror. Users can self-register, and I only ever pull from those repositories. So if somebody wanted to contribute a fix, they could actually sync with that sandbox and be able to, we can evaluate their check-ins and then just kind of take the best of the best and work out a manual patch.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I should point out that last night Steve had me put in the big green clone or download button on the main Tcl' repository so that it would look more like GitHub's.
No, actually, so people could figure out how to do it.
Oh, and if you go to,
And if you click on that now, it takes you over here, and you can get a zip archive or a tarball of the most recent release.
Yeah.
in the homepage change.
Oh, and Gerald updated the homepage so that you now actually get some useful things there.
Somewhat useful.
You moved my cheese.
Yeah. The just so that you'll know, the clone or download button only works if you're not an administrator or super user. So Don, when you log in, and you're logged in as an administrator, I'll just log in here.
I don't see
The clone button turns into an admin button. Okay. So you won't see that, but you know how to download what you need anyway, so you don't care. All right, my 5-minute talk turned into a 20-minute talk. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the hint.